Okay, wonderful. So, hi y'all. I am Toriel. I know that some of you have been on my email list for a little bit now. Some of you I met through LinkedIn, right? So you may or may not be as familiar with me. I am not a slides kind of girly, so you're just gonna get me. But just to give you a little bit of my background, I've been in career development for a year shy of a decade. So I have worked in mainly nonprofit, a little bit of corporate, and I've worked with many different types of people, especially women. And my main specialty, like my area of focus, is all about helping women to get clear direction in their career, understanding what it is they want to do, their strengths, their likes, their needs. Because a lot of times we women, we take on the world and we don't think about, do we even like what we're doing? Right. So I help my clients to realize that. And then I also help with professional visibility. So making sure you're getting seen by the right people. And that doesn't mean being in 20,000 networking things or, talking to a bunch of different people on LinkedIn. That means that you're showing your expertise to the right kind of people in the way that works best for you. So we could talk more about like my offers and things like that at the end. But I want to get into you guys. So I'll cut my little intro there. Um, why don't you all tell me where it is you are in your career? I know you filled out a like quick little intake form when you signed up. But just to get a clear idea so that I can also tailor some of the things that I'm saying. So, tell me what it is that you're wanting to do or that you're doing now, and what you are satisfied with and what you're not so satisfied with. So, Linda, you're the first one I see. Do you mind starting it off?
Not at all. So I've been unemployed for the last 14 months.
Okay.
I am a retired special education teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And last year I kind of had a transformative year, taking care of myself. And I am now trying to figure out what I want to do with this rest of my life, basically.
Okay.
And I have no savings. I have debt. I want to start a small business,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know where to start and how to do that without money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to help people. So that's pretty much it. I want to help people, and I think I want to start a small business, but the money's not there right now.
Yeah, yeah. I have some thoughts. I'll get back to those later, but have you thought about consulting?
I have, utilizing my educational background, I'm looking into instructional design.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, to have some sort of training and experience, people want a portfolio, and that takes skills, and those are skills I don't have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay,
But
maybe
yeah,
we can,
consulting is
yeah, maybe we can riff offline a little bit and I can give you some, pointers and things like that.
sure.
Um, Tracy, how about you? What are you doing now? What do you want to do? Are you satisfied? Are you not satisfied? Like what's happening in your career?
It's funny. I'm gonna tell you my story is the same. It's pretty much Linda's, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm a special education teacher. I left the job. I took a long sabbatical transformation. I have health issues. I took a transformation to get myself back together, evolve. Now I'm starting to get back, and of course, money is an issue like for everybody else. You have a strategy to an
Mm-hmm.
extent, but then
Mm-hmm.
bills need to be paid.
Right.
So I'm in the process. I'm literally the same story, kind of what Linda was saying. I do have a couple of ideas here and there for entrepreneurship. I'm sorry, it's small business as well. But so
Mm-hmm.
doing a combination of both, getting back into and seeing how my transferable skills can in the job market, and starting my business on the side.
Okay. Okay. Okay, awesome. Um, Crystal, are you able to unmute Crystal? Okay. For now, we'll come back to you if you are able to. Okay. Customer service, left 3 years ago for menopause, broken laws. Okay. Okay. All right. So the good thing is that you're kind of all on the same page, right? So I can tailor this specifically to y'all, which is good. Okay, wonderful. So I'm gonna put in the chat a document that I created. This is kind of a common practice in career coaching, but I've put a little bit of a spin on it because a lot of things in career coaching is fluff and it doesn't really a lot of them aren't really saying much. So we're gonna go into this. Sorry, I'm just closing out unneeded windows here. Here we go. Okay. So I'm putting this in the chat. And then it should prompt you to make a copy. So make sure that you make a copy so that you can write in it. And then that way we will be able to do it. And then I'll share my screen as well so that we can go through it together. Just in case you're not able to access the document at the moment. Okay. So this is called I Need, I Bring, right? So I Need, I Bring is an activity where you talk about the things that you need in your career and the things that you bring to your career, right? So I don't mean fluffy things like, and I don't mean to say fluff in the sense that it's not important, but this is not the focus of this activity where you're saying, I need a place that doesn't micromanage me, or I need a remote versus in person, or, those are important things. But what you really want to focus on is the things or are the things that make you feel satisfied in a role. So like what kind of responsibilities you want to do, what kind of projects you want to take on, what kind of things do you not want, right? So for example, for me personally, I was laid off in November. Again, I've been a nonprofit for 10 years. And unfortunately, as we can see with the political climate, as well as just in general, things have been kind of swirly in a lot of industries. I was laid off. And so luckily, I have my business that I fall back on. But if I were to go back to work, which I have no problem with, I would need something where I am facilitating, right? Like that is a need of mine. I'm a talker. I need to talk. But not only that, but that's just a talent of mine, right? It's my zone of genius. Has anyone in here heard of zone of genius before? Anybody? No? So a zone of genius, there's 4 zones, and I won't get into all of them right now, but a zone of genius is where you are able to sorry, I was removing the note takers from the call. Where you are able to do something that you're great at and people come to you for it, right? And not only that, but you love doing that particular thing. So for me, I love to facilitate. That's something that is my zone of genius. People come to me for it. I'm really talented at it. That's something I excel in, right? So that would be my zone of genius. Whereas the opposite end is zone of incompetence. And that's something that you are not great at. Nobody would come to you for it, right? So for me, that would be Excel. I am not good at Excel. I could do the basics, copy and pasting into something. Other than that, you don't want me to create a spreadsheet for you. That's just not something you're gonna want, right? So that is my zone of incompetence. So with this particular activity, you're thinking about what are the things that are in your zone of genius that you like to do and that you want to do, right? Because again, we focus so much on the things that we don't want that we don't think about the things that we do want, right? The things that we're strong in, the things that we enjoy doing. Now, here's the thing though, we have to be realistic. So the way that I think about this is like stretching, right? Like when you're actually stretching, there comes a point where you do a little stretch and you don't feel nothing, right? Because you're not really stretching. You got to get in there a little bit more, right? So then you start really getting into that stretch and it's like, oh, it hurts so good, right? Because you're getting that stretch that you need. It's that stretch that you haven't had in a while. But then if you do too much, Now it's painful. In the same way, when you're looking for a new job or even trying to up level in the role that you have, you want to go for a stretch that feels good. It's stretchy enough that it's like it's not the same level, it's a bit above, but you don't want to try to make a huge jump. So if I am an admin assistant, for example, why would I ever look for a director role? Right? I mean, if you have that in your background, cool. But if you've never been even a manager, going for a director level position is you're doing too much, right? So we want to make sure that we're thinking about things that are within our range and a stretch, but not where we're doing too much. Does that make sense? Is that clear for everybody? Tracy, Crystal, since I can't see you, just a little, you know, yes.
Yes, it's very clear. I get it. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I want you to take a few minutes. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the clock. Maybe 5, just depends on, where we are. But I'm gonna put a few minutes on the clock and I want you to really think about these things so that on the next page you can start filling in I need, right? Don't worry about I bring it. I haven't explained it. You can read the directions, but still don't go into it yet. But I want you to think about what it is that you need in your role in order for you to feel satisfied. Okay. So I'm going to put on a little bit of lo-fi so that we can work through this. And if you are not able to utilize a document for any reason, maybe you're driving, maybe you just don't have that open, maybe you're on your phone, then just write it down, pen and paper, or just in your phone or whatever. So let me set the scene real quick. Share this can hear. Is that a good volume? Is it too loud? Too low? Good. Okay. Take the next 3 to 5 minutes and just fill out as much as you can in I need. Give it another minute, or are you guys ready? Linda, Tracy, are you ready?
Yes, I'm good.
Yes, I'm ready.
Cool. Let's do this. Okay, so let's switch back. How was that? Not everybody
I
at once. Good, good.
It was good. It helped me to kind of narrow down perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing, I guess, for what I need, like, I want to help and serve people. And
Mm-hmm.
I think because I want to train and teach, but I don't know if I necessarily need to train and teach. It's just something that I'm so used to that and that's in my mind how I would help and serve people.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you thought about, because you were in special education, you said?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. So have you thought about what alternatives you want to do, or like what have you done so far to kind of figure out which direction to go into?
I was thinking about doing more like what I do want is to be more like a trainer or curriculum trainer and curriculum
Okay.
teacher with that. Trying to transition over where it's hard is because, like you said, you want to stretch, but you can't stretch too far because,
Mm-hmm.
okay, most of my resume would be education stuff. So trying to go from one extreme to like even like outside of the gates or stretch over a little bit, you gotta also have your qualifications match, and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Like, and so
Right.
that's where it's how far do I stretch, or how do I make my profile look like that when most of my stuff is from education, and it just is what it is.
Right. No, I hear you. So part of that is transferable skills, right? And so when it comes to you teaching, did you create curriculum?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did you do any kind of like strategy and planning and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So
how is
those are
that?
the things. Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But when you
Mhm,
look at jobs, right, for that
mhm.
type of thing, and or even like for sales, I'm going from one extreme to the other on kind of on purpose, like sales and marketing.
Okay.
They're gonna see though, even though you're writing down what you did in those teaching positions,
Mhm.
they're gonna see that education part. Do they look highly at that? Do recruiters look at that? Because I think I would
So
see the teacher, even with all my skills, transferable skills, would look at it and be like,
mhm.
No, she's not in the realm for
Well,
this."
see, it depends, right? Because if you position yourself to where you are the subject matter expert in, let's say, curriculum design, then they're going to pay more attention to you, right? But if you're applying to like marketing and sales, but you haven't done any marketing and sales, well, you can apply for entry level and they'll look at you. But if you're applying for something where, you're doing a lot of account management or things like that, probably not a good fit. You would need that bridge, right? Where you are or where you've been in your career versus where you want to go. If it's not directly connected, you need a bridge to get there. So, what do you do in the meantime, right? So, it's doing things that are adjacent to it. So, if you wanted to go into sales and marketing, again, you would need to either do some kind of curriculum design, maybe within sales and marketing,
Okay.
or you can do entry level type of sales and marketing, right? Or you can even do like more entry level, or maybe not quite entry level, but something like it, account management, where you're dealing with the customers, right? Because as a teacher, you're dealing with multiple people at once, especially if you're dealing with special education. There's a lot of hand holding, a lot of explaining, a lot of, making sure that people understand instructions, and not just the children, but also the parents, right? So, I
Mhm.
mean, there's a lot of leeway that you have, but it's all in how you position yourself. And it's
Okay.
all about also what level of stretch you're going for. Does that answer the
Yep.
question?
Yep, it does.
Okay, good,
Thank you.
good. You're welcome. Linda, how about you?
For my I need, the first thing was to help people. It has to have a purpose of serving others.
Mm-hmm.
I need flexible time because I have one child in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I need problems to solve because I like tasks that require me to think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I need clear expectations of end goals. Tell me what you want me to do, but let me figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would need, um, depending on what the employment is, I would need upskilling for technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that particular piece, is that something that you can do on your own?
There are some things that I can do on my own, yes.
Okay. So I think what also helps when you're looking is to make sure that you're noting that, right? Like noting like any kind of projects you're working on tech wise or like things like that. Making sure it's clear that you're not just, being left behind in the dust with tech, right?
Yeah.
Um, but okay, that was all a good list. Um, I didn't really hear though specifics about, like you said, you want to help people. How? How is it that you want to help people? Like, what does that entail?
That remains to be seen. Um,
Okay.
what comes to my mind first is to help others become better or more appreciative or more joyful or more happy um, with their capabilities and their experiences.
Okay. Okay.
Like one of the things that I do is I have recently started volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
I am enjoying that, and it's through my church, so I'm going out and um, conversing with the homeless population and spreading my faith.
Okay. Which is good. Very fulfilling, right? But
Oh, I
the thing
love it.
is, that doesn't pay bills, right? So we got to think more specifically here. Like, what does that mean for Linda, right? Because helping for you is very different from helping for me. For me, helping is career development, right? So you
Mhm.
need to find a lane because here's the thing, you want to go into business, but right now you don't really have the funds to start a business. So what seems like it would make more sense is to have a 9 to 5 for now while you're building your business at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's what I did for years. That's what I would again, right? I got laid off. That is the only reason I'm not at the job that I was at. I love doing both personally. But I would say do something that is specific to what it is that you like, what it is you want to do. So what you can do is you can do like a pros and cons list about just the different types of industries, right? So, and I'm old school that way. Like I love a good pros and cons list.
Mhm.
Um, where you're like, okay, the pros of this is the cons of that is, and just kind of do comparing and contrasting because again, you want to stretch, but you don't want to stretch too much, right? To where
Mhm.
you're not going to get employed. So you have to figure out what direction you want to go in. The
Okay.
world is your oyster, as they say, right? Um, and then okay, so we'll put a pin in that for now, and then we'll do more in iBrain. Crystal, okay, so let me read the chat. So Crystal, you had said for Tracy, I don't know if you've seen the chat, Tracy, but she'd suggested training the salespeople. And then for Linda, Crystal had said life coaching could be a thing for you. And then for you specifically, Crystal, you said you want to work from home, you want time flex, 50K a year, no talking to customers, IDT or ITD talking in admin. I don't know what ITD is. Oh, limited. Oh, that's an L. Got it. Um, projects and organization. Okay, okay. So you've been in, was it customer service? Okay, customer service. You left 3 years ago for menopause. Okay. So would you say 30 years in customer service is what you're saying? Okay. So in your experience in customer service, right? Because if you don't want to deal with the customer facing side and you have that much experience, maybe you can do things like um process management, right? So there's in management, there's people management, process management, and both. So process management is the behind the scenes processes. So that could be something like uh logistics, or some kind of planning of sorts, or something with the CRMs or something in that nature. That's something you would have to like look up, but definitely behind the scenes seems like something more that would fit you. But what you would need to do then is you would need to speak to those things. So and this goes for everyone. When you are speaking to your experience, you want to talk upper echelons, right? You don't want to speak as though you're entry level when all three of you have a lot of experience under your belt, right? So I don't want to see these admin type tasks on your resume. No, we don't do that. Okay. We speak to strategy, we speak to people management, process management, planning and logistics, right? So again, it's going to depend on what it is you're applying to and like, the direction you're taking, but you always want to speak to that upper level, right? The strategy, the brains behind it, right? And of course, when it comes to like for Linda and Tracy, you were in education for a long time. So of course there's going to be some elements of teaching, right? But you also want to speak to the other things as well. So like for myself, for example, I hate resume writing. I hate it with every fiber of my being, but I'm very good at it, right? So what I tend to do on my resume is I'll note it, but at the end of the day, that's not my focus point, because a resume, your LinkedIn, your interview, those are all things that you control of what you want your future employer to know. So you control that narrative. You let them know the things that you want to specialize in, the things that you have experience in, so that those can be your focus points. And those are the things that you'll speak to in the interviews and like things like that. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, so yeah, for you, Crystal, I think definitely making sure that you're speaking to the behind the scenes stuff within customer service. Um, and even what is that title called? Because titles are like the points on whose line is it anyway. They really don't matter in a lot of jobs. So I love that I can make this joke because I'm usually talking to a lot younger people and they're like, what's whose line? And I'm like, oh gosh. But you want to be sure to be really paying attention to the descriptions, right? So for customer service, that could also be customer experience. That could also be, oh gosh, what is that other? Mm, I'll have to think on it. I'll get back to you because I want to go into iBring really quick so that you guys can do that. And while you're doing that, I'll think of the other part of customer, whatever. Okay, so let me explain iBring. No, not UX. I'll get it. I'll get it. So I bring is the proof to show what it is you need. And this is why I didn't want you to focus so much on the like surroundings per se. So like, how much you want to make, or, if it's remote or this or that, because that has no bearing upon your experience. The money does, but you know what I mean. But I bring is kind of like that proof. So for example, if I say that I want to be a facilitator, what proof do I have of that? Well, I have 9 years of facilitating workshops. I have 9 years, maybe 7 years of creating curriculum. and developing programs and things like that, right? So those are my experiences that I bring to the table. And so the reason why this is important is not only so that you yourself can see that you do have the skills you need to do what it is you want to do, but also it shows you, number one, if you don't have those skills, right? And like what that gap is. And it's not so that you focus on that gap, but it's so that you can fill the gap, right? But also you want to look at it so that you can utilize it in your resume, in your LinkedIn, in your interview, in your networking, those type of things. So I want you to focus on the things that you bring to a role. Like, what are the things that Linda does well? What are the things that Tracy excels at? What are the things that Crystal knocks out the park, right? The things that people go to you for. Think about your professional reputation, right? Because even if you're not working right now, you've built up a reputation in your career. So what do people come to you for? What are you that go-to girl for? So I want you to think of that for the next couple minutes. I'm going to put back on the lo-fi. Let us work a little bit on that. And then we will come back in about 3 minutes because I know we're coming to a close. Let's take another minute and then we'll come back.
You're muted.
Ah, ah, thank you. Um, what did I say? I said, I know that you all were experiencing some imposter syndrome. However, what are some of the things that came up for you? So let's see. Okay, good. I'm glad customer success makes sense. Linda, you bring facilitation 15 years, project management 10 years, curriculum development 25 years, negotiation 10 years, creativity 40 years, program evaluation and revision 20 years. Okay. So girl, I think you need to go into curriculum development or maybe training and development. That sounds like something that that would fit you, right? Um yeah. Have you looked into those before?
I really haven't. I had heard about instructional design and creating trainings for corporations, and
Mhm.
that kind of goes along the lines of me wanting to be able to help people meet their goals.
Mhm.
Um, it's taking the information from subject matter experts and using my experience and creating something that's engaging for adult learners.
Mhm. Mhm. So yeah, you can so that's another thing that you can look into, right? Adult learning. You can look into training and development, learning and development, and curriculum design.
Okay.
Instructional design and all that. I think that's a little bit more advanced. Because even I don't qualify for that. And I've been doing, this for a while. Um,
Okay.
so look into it, but I think the path of least resistance, that stretch, but not that too much of a stretch, would be those things. So if you didn't write them down, you'll get the replay. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
And then that way you can get those. Um, and then Crystal, she mentioned faith-based companies to look into those as well, like for like within those roles. Okay. And then Crystal, I feel like you need to do something with strategy because you coming up with all the answers and I love it. Um, and then Tracy, you put developing curriculum, mentoring and training future teachers to receive certification, communication, team player, de-escalating strategies, customer service, problem solving inquiries, lead workshops, providing teaching strategies. Okay. So kind of same thing, right? You and Linda should be, if y'all aren't connected on LinkedIn, I think y'all need to connect. Because y'all seem like you're on the same path or just about. I would say the same thing for you. Learning and development, training and development, curriculum design. It really just depends on what your interests are, right? Where your interests lie. Because even though you bring those things, do you like those things? Tracy?
Sorry, I was writing down my notes.
No, you're fine.
Yes, I like it, but I would like to stretch to see something a little bit different, a combination of both. So
Okay.
yes, I like
Okay.
that, but I don't want to stretch too far because there's aspects of it that I like, but I want to
Right.
stretch a little bit. Now, what that
Right.
looks like stretching to where, that's where I get kind of like that bridge you said. That's where I
Mm-hmm.
need to kind of narrow down or figure out what that is or where I'm at right now is finding the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, good. But at least this is a starting point, right? Because and this is for all of you. If the things on I bring are things that you're like, I bring it, but I could do without it, delete it. Delete it. It doesn't matter. Not for where you're trying to get to. If you're still figuring out where you're trying to get to, no problem. So you can have that there until you make that like decision, but put an asterisk there to be like, if I don't have to do this, I'm not gonna do this. Um, Linda, you said I'm still learning to build a profile on LinkedIn. You're just in luck, girl, because you all made it live. I'm gonna be giving you my LinkedIn profile builder guide, I guess you could say, but it's so that your profile won't read like a boring resume like 99% of people. So I will make sure that the three of you get that for sure. Okay, and then Crystal, how about you? What are the things that you bring? Oh, you were ready. Training experience, project management, creating tools, system improvement. Okay, okay. So yeah, I think what I was saying earlier was right on the money. You need to do more of the behind the scenes things, system improvements, creating tools. I love that. I think that would be really good for you. And I mean, I've not seen your resume or anything, but I think that's definitely something that would suit you. And if they are things that you like to do, definitely pursue it. But again, right, I want to stress to you ladies to make sure that you are updating your materials, your resume, LinkedIn, your interviews, da da da. Make sure that you're updating it with those upper level skills, right? Too many of us, we downplay our strengths. I know imposter syndrome was mentioned earlier, and part of the reason why we have imposter syndrome, aside from outside sources, right? We have our inside sources as well, like our own doubts. Oh, maybe I can't do it. Maybe this, maybe that. What I want you to do is I want you to start a confidence bank. A confidence bank is something where you write down the things that you are freaking amazing at, right? I like to call it my dope list. These are the things that I'm dope at, right? So like when I was going through all the icky feelings of the layoff, um, you get bored easily. Um, when I was going through those icky feelings of the layoff, what I had to keep repeating out loud to myself was, I am dope at career coaching because I am dope at this because I am this because, right? And that I bring is that because reason, right? So because I have 10 years of experience in this, because I have 20 years of experience in that, right? You want to be sure to have that evidence for yourself because that will help you to remember, oh no, I'm no rookie. I'm no newbie at this. I've been doing this. This is something that I embody, right? So you want to be that hype woman for yourself. Because if you can't hype yourself, how are you going to sell yourself when you get in those interviews? How are you going to sell yourself on your resume? How are you going to sell yourself on LinkedIn? Right? So you want to be sure to make sure that you're pumping yourself with that confidence boost, with that confidence builder. And you can always hit me up and be like, hey, I need a boost. And I got you. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're being your own best friend, right? Think about it this way too. If your best friend came to you and said, girl, like, I'm terrible at this and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Are you going to sit there and be like, yeah, you're right? No. If this is your best friend, you'll be like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. You know, you got this and da da da. You are your own best friend first. You got to do that for you first. So I'm going to open the floor to questions. I am off my soapbox. Are there any questions? Was this helpful? Was, anything like that?
I don't have any questions, but I am it's very helpful, and it's giving me momentum to kind of start again and kind of narrow down and kind of start with the brag folder again and trying to see, because like the imposter syndrome, yes, that definitely is sneaking its lovely head right back in, and
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, no, I got to narrow down my skills, but also remember that what I have, it brings value, and just
Right.
kind of going with that. And like you
Right.
said, I'm not an entry level. I'm more than that. But reminding
Mm-hmm.
myself, I know other people know it, but I remind myself that too.
Yes. Yes. That's why I called this You Are the Prize. You are the freaking prize. But if you don't know that first, nobody else will realize that either. And what also ends up happening is when you downplay your strengths and you do it in front of other people, even if they were thinking highly of you, now subconsciously they're gonna think the same things you're saying. Right. If you're saying, I just did this, or, I only did that, or, I kind of did this or that. They're going to think those same kind of things about you. So it's very important that you first speak to yourself well, so that then you can reflect that out to others. Linda, you had unmuted. You were going to say something?
Thank you for this session, because it's empowered me, because for the last 6 months, I've been applying for jobs just so I can get money.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is saying you're overqualified. You have too much experience in other things, and da 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 da. And then when I think of the high powered um, uh, businesses or jobs that I want to get into, then the imposter syndrome definitely kicks in, because it's like, ooh, am I really
Mm-hmm.
capable of this? And
Mm-hmm.
so this has empowered me tonight. So thank you.
Good, good. I'm glad. And one of the things that you can do too is when you're looking at these job postings, really read through them with a fine tooth comb and say, at the end of every sentence, say, have I done this in my career? Because oftentimes we'll look at so many things that we haven't done that we neglect the things that we have done. So when you think of, I'm going to just say, when you think of an audacious white man, he applies to any and everything and ends up getting the role. Why? Because he's not caring about the fact that he only qualifies for 50%. He's looking at that 50% he does qualify and going, listen, I own this room, I own this space. And then he ends up getting the job, right? We'll call him mediocre Matt, right? We see mediocre Matts getting jobs all the time, right? Whereas women will sit there and will say, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, and I don't have that. Meanwhile, in a list of 10 things, we've done 7 of them already. And there's only 3 things that we haven't. And those 3 things, you have to think about it. Those are the stretch. Because if you match 100% of the things on a job posting, that means there's no growth for you there. There's no growth. You've hit the ceiling. So when you want to get those promotions, when you want to do this, when you want to do that, you can't, because you've already reached the ceiling. So what you want to do is you want to look at something that you apply or you qualify for maybe 75, 80%. It could be a little bit lower, but think about this job market is a hot mess right now. So try to go for things about 80% qualified for. And then think of that 20% as that stretch, as that extra limit to where you can say, this is where I can negotiate my pay. This is where, when I get in there, when I get that job, then I can have some things to learn and show that as my proof that, after a year, I've learned these things. Give me more money. Right. So you never really want to look at something where you 100% qualify for something. So, yeah. Sorry, yeah, I'm a chatty person and I can go on and on about this. So sorry. Okay. And then Crystal, you said very helpful. Positioning is everything. You're very welcome. I'm glad. Is there any questions that you have, Crystal, or anything that you want to bring up really quick? No, not right now. Okay, good. So I want to leave you all with this. I know your situation, so I'm just going to tell you what I have to offer. If you're able to, or you want to talk to me offline about it, perfect. If not, no problem. Right. But I am in the process of launching my next cohort of Command the Room Sis. And that is my 10-week group program where we meet together every 2 weeks. And just talk through career direction, right? It is all about strategy, career planning, making sure that you are staying in tune with your likes, your wants, your needs, and really just understanding how it is that you want to move forward in your career. So it's all about understanding that clarity and things like that. And then we also talk through your positioning, right? So in the 10 weeks, we break it down into 3 different phases. First phase is clarity. That's weeks 1 through 6. Weeks 7 through 9, we talk about advocating for yourself and knowing how to position yourself for those upper level roles, and speaking to yourself, or not speaking to yourself, but speaking about yourself as a subject matter expert in your field. And then week 10 is the last week where we actually do a 90-day career plan. And so in that you're building out what you want to do for that quarter, right? And like how it is you want to advance in your career, whatever that means for you, whether you're job searching, whether you have a job and you're looking for something new, whatever, right? The other thing that I have, and also price, right? So right now, I have a birthday special since my birthday just passed. Happy birthday to me. And so you can either pay in 6, which is $74 biweekly. You can pay in 4, which you would have to pick the pay in full, and then Klarna or Afterpay will come up. And then you could also pay in 2, so 220. And then you can pay in full 440. So if that's something that you are interested in, I can actually I'll send you the link to the actual page. And on that page too, I have lots of video testimonials. Thank you, Crystal. I have video testimonials so that you can see from the women who were in this previous cohort how they thought about it and like what they got out of it and stuff like that. So if that's helpful, definitely check that out. The other thing that I have is a professional visibility membership, and that is a monthly membership where we work together. You're being able to position yourself for the roles that you want to go into, and that's $47 a month. So if you're interested in that, I will send you also the link here. And then if you have any questions about it, just let me know. I do have to go though, because I have to let my mom in the garage. But are there any last questions or anything like that? No? Okay. All right, ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, getting to know your situation. If we are not connected on LinkedIn, please connect with me. I would love to. And then if you need anything, if you have any follow-up questions, anything like that, email me, and then I will follow back up with you. Okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good
Happy
night, ladies.
belated birthday for you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye, y'all.